Today we have two very special guests on our program, introducing Lem and Lime.
Hello.
For Starry Lemon Lime Soda.
Thanks for having us.
What is Starry Lemon Lime Soda?
It's a crisp, clear burst of lemon lime flavor, and it's caffeine-free.
Between us, one of you must be a little more important to Starry than the other. Who is it?
We're both important.
So it could just as easily be Starry Lime Lemon Soda.
No, that doesn't sound right.
Oh, I like it.
So you saying hip-hop could be hop-hip?
Works for me.
Starry Lemon Lime Soda. Starry hits different.
Coming up on this episode of DL Weekly, Disneyland has posted events for 2025. We have all the details and events. Disneyland's 70th anniversary details released.
After Dark Nites are expanded for 2025, a virtual queue is gone. We have a hub crawl, DL Weekly crossover, and more. DL Weekly starts now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome aboard the DL Weekly podcast. Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding. If this is your first time listening, we hope you'll check out our website at DLWeekly.net. If you have more time to spend, becoming an official weekly tier at DLWeekly.net/support is an especially good value. Thanks for traveling with us today, and we hope you have a happy and memorable listen to this week's episode.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of DL Weekly for the week of December 11th, 2024. I'm Teg Bushman.
And I'm Community Manager Olivia Sands.
We would like to thank everyone who supports the show, but this week we'd like to give a special shout out to our community managers, Kate A. and Olivia S., who is joining me tonight. Also, Sidel P., who edits our show so masterfully every week. Thank you so much. She makes us sound way better than we actually do when we're recording. And, of course, producer James and producer Vern for supporting Teresa and I on this crazy endeavor of a podcast. If you would like to support the show and get ad-free versions of each episode, access to our supporter-only chat, where we do really cool, fun stuff like ornament exchanges that we just did, and a bunch of other perks, head on over to dlweekly.net/support and become an official weekly tier.
Now, let's get to the news.
Extra, extra! Read all about it! DL Weekly reports from intrepid correspondents Tag and Teresa. You heard it here first, ladies and gents. Breaking news!
Well, the calendar for 2025 at the Disneyland Resort has been posted. Lunar New Year, Celebrate Gospel, Food and Wine Festival, Season of the Force, Halloween Time, a celebration of Coco at Plaza de la Familia, the holidays, and Festival of the Holidays are all returning. The Disneyland 70th is also on the list, along with After Dark Nights, but we're going to talk about those a little bit later.
I love that we have a full event calendar for 2025. It's so funny. Our community is getting very good at this, but somebody asked if there was an event calendar literally the day before this came out. But I love that guests who maybe either visit the parks once a year, maybe they're planning a special trip and they specifically want to see something, or I don't know, maybe want to avoid something for, some reason. Maybe you're not a big Star Wars fan and you want the regular version of Space Mountain. It's great to just have this to be able to plan trips around.
I just realized, so the next time I plan on being in the parks is the last week of February. And I realized that all of these events just basically miss all of that. So the Food and Wine Fest starts on February 28th, which is our last day in the park. So we'll have to take that one day and try to eat as much as we can. Of course, we're missing Lunar New Year, which starts mid-January through mid-February. Celebrate Gospels from kind of like towards the beginning of February to mid-February. Of course, like you said, Season of the Force is from kind of late March to mid-May. And then, man, Halloween time doesn't start till August 22nd, but we'll talk about it a little bit later. But the first Oogie Boogie Bash is on August 17th. So, even before Halloween time starts. And then, of course, the holidays. It looks like they pushed the holidays back again to start November 14th, because there for a while, it was starting on, the 7th or 8th or something of November, because it was almost just a week after Halloween time. So, and those, of course, are going to January 7th, which is about normal for these type of things. So lots of fun stuff coming. Is there anything of any of the stuff that's returning that you're particularly excited that they brought back, or is there something that they didn't bring back that maybe you wanted them to?
Yeah, in general, I'm excited that we are getting the holidays through the 70th anniversary. I think it was the 60th anniversary. They didn't do the fireworks. I think they maybe cut the parade. So it is nice to know that we are still getting that. I have never done Lunar New Year, but Man, it looks awesome. We've got the Hurry Home, a Lunar New Year celebration, and then Mulan's Lunar New Year procession, which looks super fun. Mickey and Minnie also will have some new outfits, which look amazing. So I know this, a lot of people, we tend to go, my family, during the holidays. So we don't usually go as quickly after the Christmas season. So this definitely I need to add on my list to check out, though.
Yeah. All the favorites, I think they've kind of, the park has kind of settled into a cadence of, these things that have been very popular that they can have every year. And it just kind of like progresses through it and people really enjoy it. So I like it. Why not?
It's nice for a local park too, that, like you mentioned, most of the time there's something going on too. So even if it is a 6-8 week event, at least it rotates throughout the year.
Absolutely.
The 70th anniversary of Disneyland begins on May 16th and goes through summer 2026. As part of the celebration, a new World of Color Happiness show will debut. Better Together, a Pixar Pals celebration, Paint the Night Parade, and Wondrous Journeys fireworks will return. Walt Disney, A Magical Life will debut on Main Street, and construction will begin on the Avengers Campus expansion.
What a big year for the Disneyland Resort. So we just talked about all these things that they're bringing back, which are just all types of yearly celebrations. And then we're adding on the 70th anniversary of Disneyland, which was interesting because at D23, they didn't really talk about anything being announced for the 70th. They're like, more to come. And then they waited because we had a bunch of other announcements over the last few months, the opening of Tiana's Bayou Adventure and the reopening of the extended queue for the Haunted Mansion and all of these other things that have been going on. And now we finally get some 70th anniversary. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, because one of the things I find interesting about the 70th anniversary is looking at the logo. I love the 70. I love the castle. I love the yellow, the bright, the kind of fun. I like all of that. The thing that throws me is the word Disneyland and Resort are black, which seems weird compared to like the bright, vivid colors of the rest of the logo. I thought this would be something that they would like change, but they haven't.
Yeah, that's interesting. And now I'm thinking what Disneyland, like where we see this elsewhere and how many different colors we see it in. I wonder if there's some requirement on colors where it has to be a certain color. I'm not sure, but it does make it pop, maybe for a good reason, maybe for not. But yeah, it's definitely different than these tones that we've got going on the logo overall.
Yeah. That was just the one thing that stuck out about the logo to me. But I'm excited that there's a new World of Color show. I think that we're finally starting to get the realization that was the original intent of World of Color, that it's something that can be updated frequently and people are fine with. I feel like World of Color has not stuck around long enough in any one particular arrangement, I guess you could call it, that people have been like, you can never change it, because it's just kind of been in that cadence of change. Of course, I'm so excited for Paint the Night. I was hoping this would come back in the early part of the year as well, but it looks like that's also not happening until the celebration kicks off in May, so I'm a little sad by that. I'm very excited that Wondrous Journeys is coming back. That is a wonderful fireworks show, and I was hoping they would bring it back. And then, of course, Better Together. I'm not surprised that came back. They just created this parade. I was surprised that it had gone away so quickly. So, yeah. And, of course, Mickey and Minnie, they have, like, new outfits and stuff, which I think will be really cool. And, of course, all of the merchandise and stuff that I'm sure we'll be reporting on over the next few months that comes out, because we know that's going to be part of it. So, I'm really excited. Are you planning? I'm sure you're planning a trip during the 70th.
Well, I'm excited because when I first read this, I did not read closely, and I thought it said May 2025 through summer 2025. And I was like, oh my gosh, we only get 5 months or like 4 months of this. So I'm glad we have 18 months of this. Very excited about that. But I like the new World of Color. This new mock art, or the concept art, is beautiful. And it's interesting because right now we've got World of Color 1, which resolves around what one impact or one action can have an impact. This is World of Color Happiness. So I am curious to see if we continue to get shows that are based on ideas, maybe rather than storylines, right? Think of how many Magic, Treasure, I'm really just thinking about Disney Cruise Line boats right now, right? But, any of those kind of Disney-esque words, they can build a show around. So, like you said, easy to swap out. And it would be cool to have something that is there and relatively the same, but that is updated pretty frequently. I love the colors on the castle. It's beautiful. We've got these beautiful jewel tones. They've got these, really regal banners that are this beautiful kind of royal blue with this fuchsia pink coming off of, and these gold trumpets off the top. And then we've got some teal and some pink on the castle as well. So I think it'll complement how the castle looks already very nicely. Love Mickey and Minnie's outfits. They look like, again, very colorful, kind of fun, ready to party. And I know they only dropped one piece of merch, but what this woman is wearing looks like a conductor's hat that's all sparkled out with the Mickey ears on it. And what a cute hat, and a little, nod to Walt and what he loved. So excited to see the merch that is to come too.
Also on this piece of merchandise, the Disneyland in the logo is gold this time. So I'm wondering if, depending on what it'll be around, kind of like you were saying, if it's going to change depending on what it's themed around. I could get behind that. That's pretty cool. I agree. One of the things I also really enjoy in the concept art of the castle that they released, which is linked in our show notes, is the fact that the fountain is staying. There's no reason the fountains shouldn't stay, but when they were put in there for the Disney 100, we were kind of curious if that was going to be something that they were going to continue to maintain, and it looks like they are. I am here for it. Very excited for that. But that is not the end of announcements from this one post on the Disney Parks blog. Disneyland After Dark Nights will also be returning for 2025. Sweethearts Night has expanded to 8 nights in late January and early February. 90s Night is happening on 2 nights in March. Star Wars Night is expanding to 8 nights in April and early May. And Pride Night, again, is returning on June 16th and 18th, which I would recommend anybody who has thinking about this at all, definitely go to Pride Night because it was amazing. Of course, Oogie Boogie Bash is back in mid-August with 7 nights, continuing into September with 11 nights, and finally in October with 13 nights. So many nights of Oogie Boogie Bash, but it is such a popular after dark party. They needed to add these nights. I would not be surprised if in the future that we might have more nights than not that have Oogie Boogie Bash because of the popularity of this.
I'm really excited for Sweetheart Night. I've never been, but love that we've got some extended days on. I know that's a crowd favorite for sure. 90s Night, if I were to pick one, I think 90s Night would be the one that I would probably gravitate towards. I love that we're going to actually have some nods to past parades, the Lion King celebration and Mulan parade. I believe those were in the late 90s, but Lion King really seems to be making a little bit of a comeback in the park. So I think that'll be fun to see. We've got Star Wars Night, like you mentioned. And Pride Night, I'm actually a little surprised we only have 2 dates for Pride Night. This seems to be one of the most popular events. Maybe they want to keep it small, to keep it high energy, a little bit more exclusive. But I hope in future years, maybe we get a couple more Pride Nights because it seems like an awesome event.
Yeah. With the 90s, maybe it was the late 80s. I remember one of the times I went to Disneyland, I thought it was the 90s. They had, oh gosh, I don't even remember what it was. The Party Gras parade. And they had giant inflatable parade floats. That would have been a cool thing to just have like one of those as like a photo op. That would be really, really cool. But yeah, I agree with you. Like Pride Night seems like there should be some more, but man, it is such a great, just the vibe. I can't get over the vibe in the park for Pride Night. Star Wars Night, I feel like Teresa and I probably have to give that another chance at some point because we had kind of a lackluster thing, but people seem to really enjoy it. So I think we had like an exception to the rule perhaps. And of course, Sweethearts Night, I really want to experience at some point because again, so many people seem to really, really like this event, and I wonder if it's the same kind of thing like with Pride Night, where it just has a really nice vibe to it, and people just really enjoy themselves. So I'm glad to see more nights added, because some of these things can be hard to get tickets to. I do wish that Disney would add some different After Dark events. Maybe this year's not the year because of the 70th, but I know that over the last few years, they've been trying some things. They had Disney Channel Night, which seemed really popular, but did not return, and things like that. So I'm curious to see if in the future they try some different nights, maybe some different decades and stuff. That would be kind of cool as well.
Absolutely. And overall, like we just talked about, and with these nights too, I think Disney has heard the grumblings of fans for more parades, more shows, more entertainment. I mean, I am really impressed from a logistical standpoint that they are going to create a parade for a 2-night event. That seems like a really big undertaking, but, it's been a couple of years, obviously, COVID and trying to get things back up to speed, that we've had as many parades and entertainment options. And next year we've got a parade in each park even, which is awesome. So I hope overall we continue to move in this more entertainment direction. Tiana's Bayou Adventure is now easier to access for guests. As of December 10th, the virtual queue option has been discontinued and there is a standby queue. Of course, Lightning Lane Multi-Pass and Lightning Lane Premier Pass are also available. The virtual queue for the Haunted Mansion has also ended, with standby and Lightning Lanes being options for guests.
What I find interesting, and it's not directly related to Tiana's Bayou Adventure, is when they decide to end virtual queues for things, because out in Florida, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind still has a virtual queue and still has Lightning Lane that you can purchase for it, but it doesn't really have a standby queue. Tron may also be in that case. I can't remember for sure. I know Cosmic Rewind is still in that spot, and that's been open for quite a while, where we have things like Tiana's Bayou Adventure and now also Haunted Mansion opening up to getting rid of the virtual queue, because it seems like the crazy onslaught of guests. And maybe it's the fact that this is a high capacity attraction that can just eat people up pretty easily. So they go, okay, well, it seems like we're doing all right. We can have a standby queue that won't be all crazy. I don't know, but I'm glad that people can just go and they don't have to fight for virtual queue, because I understand the reasoning behind it, but also I like the idea of, like, if you want to ride it, even if it has like let's just say an insane 3 or 4 hour wait, as a guest, I can decide if I want to wait in that or not, and not have that decision made for me by not being able to join a virtual queue potentially.
I agree. And it is really interesting to me. I mean, we are less than a month out after this ride opened, and they already felt like they could just open up the queue. When I looked at about 4:30 Disneyland time this afternoon, there was an 80-minute wait. So definitely a long wait, but not, hours and hours and hours. And right now at 6:45 p.m. Disneyland time, it's a 45-minute wait. So not too bad. And maybe opening this water ride, and I know I've seen reports that people feel like they're getting more wet on this version of the attraction than previously. So maybe opening or debuting this attraction in the middle of winter, when it can definitely still be chilly in Southern California at nights, it helps to lessen the crowds a little bit, rather than opening it in the summer when people are looking for an attraction specifically to cool down.
Yeah. I think that it does get people wetter. It does seem, from all the things I've seen, that people are wetter. I've also seen something come up that I find fascinating. So it seems like I've seen stories on Reddit, and I've seen stories, David on Fresh Baked just talked about this. It seems that guests are buying ponchos, riding the attraction, and then when they get off the attraction, they're either leaving the ponchos on like one of the handrails kind of by the exit so other guests can use them, or they're just handing them to people in the line, and then when those people get off, they're also leaving it. So it's kind of like this cool community, like, we have the poncho, we're probably not going to use it anymore, so why not leave it here for someone else who might get some enjoyment out of it? So I find that really cool, and such a unexpected thing to happen.
I like that too. I mean, even from an environmental standpoint, I mean, these single-use plastic ponchos are probably not great for the world, but we are not usually poncho buyers. I did buy ponchos for this trip because I just do not want to be soaking wet at either first thing in the morning or late at night this week when we go try it out. But I love that, if you're not going to use it, don't throw it away, give it to somebody. And it's an easy little magic touch to add to make somebody's day a little bit brighter, a good act of kindness.
Of course. And that's what it's all about. Well, the annual tradition of the Candlelight Processional took place this last week on December 7th and 8th. The surprise narrator for this year was Catherine Hahn from Marvel's WandaVision, and of course, Agatha All Along on Disney+.
I think this was a great surprise narrator. I have not seen Agatha, but I know that's been a big hit on Disney+. So what a great way to keep the momentum going with that and bringing Catherine Hahn. And I know we've had at least one, or if not a couple, weekly tiers who just passed this in their journey. And again, seems like another awesome event that's definitely on the bucket list.
Oh, it's on my bucket list too, but I don't know. I feel like you have to dedicate your entire park day to this to get a decent spot, because there's very limited seating. I kind of wish that they would, one of these, just once, 1 year, that they would record it and put it on Disney Plus as something that you could watch during the holidays or something for people who can't make it. Obviously, you're going to still want to be there. It's not like putting it on Disney Plus is going to cause it to not be something that people want to go experience in real life. And since it is such a limited capacity, I feel like they have nothing to lose. So I hope that they eventually will record it and release it somewhere, or even like a DVD or something you could buy in the park. I mean, they're not really doing DVDs that much anymore, but like they could, or like a QR code, you could buy it in the park and like, type a code or something into Disney Plus, and you get it as an added thing, or you could do it as, that Premier Access thing that they did during COVID. Like maybe do something like that where maybe it's not included in Disney Plus, but if you want to buy it, you can. I think that'd be really cool. I'd love to just watch it one of these times, but from like a really good vantage point, because I feel like all the videos and stuff I've seen online are always people in the audience, and it's not like you can set up hours in advance and get the perfect spot. You kind of just are where you are, so you're not going to get the best spot. So anyway,
yeah, and I think if I were there, we have walked past it once, like we just happened to be there on the weekend. It is beautiful to look at. If I was sitting there and everyone had their phones up around them and was recording, I think it might take away from that magic a little bit. So maybe if they had it professionally recorded and people knew they could access it elsewhere, there would be less of a need for people to record it on their phones. Everybody would be more present. And then, like you said, probably a better angle, clearer picture of the event for people to witness.
Absolutely.
Last week, we talked about the D-Lander store opening in downtown Disney. This week, the new Avengers-themed shop, Avengers Reserve, opened. The new shop features a ton of Marvel characters inside and out. There is a large selection of Marvel clothing, toys, figures, and more.
The thing that I'm most surprised about with this store is just the amount of characters that they have. Outside, they've got a Hulk smashing through the door. Well, and on the outside, they have, if you look closely, in the brickwork outside, there's a small Ant-Man and Wasp up in there. There's also a Spider-Man hanging out the front. Of course, inside you've got cool things like Ghost Spider, I think is her name. My niece really loves her. Rocket and Groot are sitting up on some of the things in there. So there's all types of characters. I'm excited just to go in to see that stuff. Otherwise, just from the pictures I've seen, it looks like a more permanent kind of gussied up version of the store that was all Marvels that was in the back lot in the big building from COVID times that they got rid of. So I like it.
I agree. It feels like an elevated Disney store, and I don't know the exact workings of downtown Disney, but I don't think Disney owns that many stores down there. So it is fun to have. I think the Hulk is a great photo op. Again, maybe if you can't get in the parks, you're just stopping in for dinner. What a fun little photo to be able to take down there. And having the little characters, I see Rocket and Groot up in the corner. Super fun to be able to walk through and spot things as you shop too.
Well, with the expansion of, speaking of Avengers, with the expansion of Avengers Campus happening in 2025, the red car trolley will be closing. Disney announced that the last operating day for the attraction will be February 8th. One of the trolleys should be parked on Buena Vista Street to allow for photos during the construction, kind of by the station there. No word on if the attraction will return after construction is completed.
This, to me, is a very bittersweet announcement. Super bummed. The red car trolley is closing. It adds great kinetic energy to the land, reminds me of the Jolly Trolley from Toontown as well. But I do, in the same breath, like that we're getting rolling on the Avengers campus, and it's not just, sitting there with these hypothetical ideas. They want to start and get going, and I love that. And I also appreciate they gave us a closing date that's almost 2 months out. I know this is not probably an e-ticket #1 must-ride attraction for a lot of people. But if it is, or you want to do a cute photo or it's something you and your family enjoy, gives you some time to get to the park to hopefully just temporarily say goodbye.
Yeah, I hope that they would have done something. Some of the suggestions online that people hoped for was, why not, instead of having it go down Hollywood Boulevard or whatever, they could really extend this to over by San Francisco, something that would take you over to the Paradise Gardens park area and maybe turn around over there or something like that. You're totally right. The kinetic energy that this brings, it would be like saying that we're not going to have the horse-drawn streetcar on Main Street anymore. It's just something that's part of Main Street that adds to the theming and the atmosphere. And, I understood the logistics of it, that, of course, we have an issue with the fact that the station where this thing parks is where the new Avengers e-ticket attraction is going to be. But why not find some other place that you could reroute just a little bit of it to get a different spot to house it at night? I mean, does it even really need to be housed at a barn? Could it just be housed right there on Buena Vista Street? I mean, I'm sure if they need to do, work on it or something, why not just throw some construction walls around it like they do everything else? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't need a place like that. Maybe it does for like a big overhaul, but I don't know. It just seems to me like they could get around this. It also dashes my dreams that the News Car Boys will never come back, because that was an amazing little show that I really enjoyed and thought was really cool. We talked a little bit earlier about Walt, and it just is another one of those things that brings Walt to the park. So I think losing it is kind of sad.
Yeah. I like the idea actually of taking it back to San Francisco, A, for theming, it fits right in, but B, the monorail doesn't stop in DCA at all. So having some sort of, again, more kinetic energy and some sort of transportation, it's a lot of steps, it's a lot of days in the park. Sometimes you just want to sit and rest your feet and you're not in a rush to get from point A to point B. So if they do bring it back, it would be fun to see an expansion on that.
Mm-hmm.
A new addition has been spotted on the new Madame Leota shop next to the Haunted Mansion. The sign for the shop reads, Madame Leota's Somewhere Beyond, has a crystal ball and some spectral smoke. Unlike the other signs all over Bayou Country, this is a flat sign and not a fancy carved sign.
Yeah, so I did laugh. So Teresa's not here this week, but she did put in some news stories, and she put this one in, and I had to laugh because I was like, she put in a news story for a sign. We've been talking about the updates to this Madame Leota shop over the last few weeks. And so, I mean, I guess it makes sense. At this point, I feel like we're just waiting for the store to open it. Any day it could just be open. The sign does look cool. It again, is not as exciting as the nice, really cool, like wood carved signs that are in the rest of Bayou Country. But, I think the interior of this attraction is something that is going to prove to be the kind of exciting part of this.
I like that they're doing it actually in portions too, and letting everybody see it. That's not always Disney style, right? Sometimes they like to put the walls up and wait for the grand reveal to show what they've been working on. But I like that we've got the sign, and it looks like it's got maybe a blue type of light on it. So I'm actually curious to see this at night to see if there's any special effects on the sign, or maybe how the lighting alters it in some way.
Ooh, for some reason I had a flashback to the late 90s. Everybody, for some reason, was into fiber optic lighting, and this is the era of light magic coming to Disneyland. And I remember that they drilled millions of little holes all down Main Street to put little fiber optic lights so they could do like some different things. And so you were talking about that, and I'm like, ooh, I wonder if they did fiber optic lighting in the sign that would make it look all like cool. And then I'm like, wow, that's a very late 90s thing of me to say. But it just brought me back. I never saw Light Magic, but I heard about it and heard all the construction stuff for it when I was younger, and I was a Disney news nerd then too. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I'm sure we'll have another update when the store opens. That's probably gonna be the next update, would be my guess.
Yeah, I think you might be right with this one too. I just think one day the doors are going to be open with no announcement, and you will exit through there or near there, and it'll be awesome.
Yeah, I hope it'll be awesome. The concept art looks great. Well, more sights and sounds are coming to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Disneyland has filed permits a few weeks ago for adding projectors to the area, and Disneyland has confirmed that projections will be added to the Fire of the Rising Moons show. This is the music and the show that goes along with the nightly fireworks, when they do show, that is themed to Star Wars but happens to use the same fireworks. So it's kind of like seeing the same show in two different ways. And now they're going to add projections.
I have not seen the fireworks from back here, but I know we've got some weekly tiers who really love to watch from this location. So this is definitely on my list to witness. But I think Disney does a great job with the projections. I think we will continue to use projections. And if you can continue to do them in a way that enhances rather than takes away or over the top, I'm all for it. Let's keep going and really up the magic where we can.
I also think that one of the reasons they're adding projections to this is the fact that the dining package is being sold now for this fireworks show, and there are too many nights, unfortunately, that fireworks are canceled or not run. So having a projection show will show up and become something that they can still say, well, we at least gave you the projection show for it. So in the end, I think it's a good deal for it. So good on Disney for trying to make something happen back there. And now we have all these different locations around the park that you can watch fireworks. You can watch it. It's a Small World Mall. You can watch it on Main Street, which is the biggest packed area. You can watch it along the rivers of America. And now you can watch it back in Galaxy's Edge. And at least in most of these locations, you kind of get a different view of the fireworks. And I recommend people who have seen the fireworks before, go check it out on these other locations. It's pretty dang sweet.
I am always very impressed with how well Disney can segment music out, even in a parade on Main Street, most of the time, not always, but mostly if you're sitting in a section, the parade rolls by, right? You've got the music and it switches over pretty organically and you're not getting something in the left ear versus the right ear. So I think it's pretty cool. I know Galaxy's Edge is obviously not on Main Street, but you think they're really projecting the sound to go over the fireworks. I love that they're masters at making it separate and can give people that whole second experience, like you said, to switch it up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Anything that they can add, always good. Just do like Walt, plus everything you can.
Absolutely.
Yoo-hoo! Hello, everybody! It's me, Heimlich. My stomach is so empty. Hey, help me to go find something to eat. Come on, everybody. Here we go.
Well, this week for Snack Chat, we have kind of wrapped up Disneyland, so we are going to walk across the Esplanade. And I was talking to James about this, and I said, should we go right? So in Disneyland, we go left, we go through Adventureland, and that's kind of how we went around the park to do food places. And I said, okay, so for California Adventure, when you go in, do we want to go right and go towards Soarin' and all of that, which is kind of what we do in the morning? Or do we want to go left and kind of head through Hollywoodland and all of that? And I decided, let's go through Hollywoodland. Let's just stick to the left whole thing. And we, of course, come along Award Wieners, which I think it's an opening day Disney California Adventure location. And I think it's one of those ones that is kind of underrated in a lot of ways. What do you think about Award Wieners?
Yeah, I think it's one of those locations it's really easy to even just pass by, right? Because in Hollywoodland, the Hollywood backlot, it's really themed to that area. And so if you're not intentionally looking for it, you might not even know it's there. But it looks like a great location for just, if you don't like hot dogs, this might not be your location. But if you do, it's a good little grab and go option in a less populated area of the park.
And I've never had a trouble or had to wait too long to get food here. Even if I wasn't mobile ordering, it seems like it goes pretty quick. And actually, a lot of people don't realize this, but there's a lot of seating around this location. So it's not on the street, obviously, but around the corner, kind of on the other side of the Sunset Showcase Theater, there's tons of seating back there, and a lot of times it's shady. Sometimes there's a show going on at the stage back there that you can kind of see. There's also some seating. The very first time I ate at this location, actually, there's a nice wall right across the way by the restrooms that you can sit and kind of eat as well. And so it's good. I do like a good hot dog. I will say one of the things that Disneyland has been doing with their hot dogs that I'm not as big of a fan of lately has been that they, in some locations, and I think this is one of them, they don't give it to you in a regular hot dog bun. They kind of give it to you in this like Texas toast kind of thing, which I just want a hot dog bun, but maybe the Texas toast stands up better. I don't know. I'm sure there's some reason for it. I just want a hot dog bun. Some of the things you can get at this location, of course, are different hot dogs. So there's a bacon street dog, which is an all beef hot dog dipped in a house-made roasted red pepper ketchup, topped with grilled onions, bell peppers, and crispy bacon crumbs, served on a toasted bun, and it comes with a Cuties mandarin orange or film strip fries, which is another thing we'll talk about in a minute that's very popular here. There's the Uptown Chili Dog, which is an all-beef hot dog topped with home-style chili, pepper jack cheese, and corn chips, served with a toasted bun and mandarin oranges or film strip fries. I've had this before. This is very good. I actually like the chili that comes with this, and adding with the corn chips also adds like a nice little crunch to it. And of course, finally, for the main stars of the show is the regular all-beef hot dog, which comes on a toasted bun with the oranges or film strip fries. And of course, you've got your choice of condiments. And now more maybe up Olivia's alley.
We do. We have a plant-based hot dog, which I don't eat meat, so I always love to see. We've got a plant-based Philly dog, which is topped with mushrooms, grilled onions, and peppers, and a dairy-free crema, served on a toasted bun with mandarin oranges or film strip fries. I actually have not tried this. I don't know if I knew that they had a plant-based hot dog option. So we probably will not try this trip just because we've got so much on the foodie guides for the holiday season. But I actually do love a veggie dog. And my favorite toppings are grilled onions, mushrooms, and cream cheese generally. So this is definitely something I'm going to check out in the future.
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, we've got the sides you can get. You can get asada fries, which are the same film strip fries that they offer that are topped with marinated carne asada, cheddar cheese, cilantro and onions, and sauce de arbol and guacamole. I think I knew these existed, but now that I've read the description, I kind of want them. And then there's film strip fries, which are just like fat fries, basically. They're kind of like steak fries, but they're like twisty, I think.
Ooh. This is why I love Snack Chat, though, because, I think a lot of things now with TikTok, maybe we see here and there, or you've heard people purchase them, or you've seen them in the parks, but it's fun to go through and check out and go, oh, asada fries. I mean, that's a pretty hearty meal is what it sounds like, maybe something even to share. So it's fun to find those little hidden treasures on a menu that maybe you didn't know were there before.
Apparently, if I want a regular hot dog bun, I just have to order the kids' meal, which is an all-beef mini dog that's served on a white bun with a yogurt smoothie and a mandarin orange and a choice of a small low-fat milk or Dasani water. That actually kind of sounds good. For $8.49, that's not too bad, depending on how big the hot dog is, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they do have some alcoholic beverages as well. Got a margarita, a lager, a seltzer, and then a couple beers.
Yeah. Pretty pricey, but that's alcohol in DCA. So it's like people want alcohol. You can have it, but you got to pay for it. This is also a location that we're not going to get into the specific seasonal offerings, but this location tends to have a lot of seasonal things. So when there's foodie guides that come out, or it's the Food and Wine Fest or various things, it seems like this location picks up a lot of those type of things as well. So great location. Like I said, easy place to go and get food. Also, decent seating and stuff by there. It's also a great place that if you're like, oh, I just missed Mickey's PhilharMagic and now we've got to wait the 17 minutes or whatever it is, I can get some food and I can sit there, and they continuously announce how long until the next show. So you can just kind of eat your meal and then be like, oh, okay, well, we've sat here long enough. It's about time to go in. So that's a great location.
This location, too, does have a really fun, picture sign. I don't know how many restaurants around the resort you want to maybe take a picture in front of, but it's got a really big, cool marquee that, is very DCA 2001-esque. So if you're looking, I don't know, Instagram photo, TikTok, something to take a picture with your hot dog, I think this is the place to do it.
Olivia, bringing the age of the podcast down so we can talk about things like TikTok and Instagram, because Teresa and I are like, oh, I don't know, that's social media is difficult. But yeah, maybe we should have a little Instagram, social media, TikTok corner or something.
I just love to take pictures of my food anywhere, and so if I can, take a picture of my food with a very specific background or a fun background. I know people probably just generally take pictures in front of the sign of their faces, but if I get a cool food offering, I want the food offering with the location too.
There you go. And I'm sure people appreciate that because they see the food and then they also see where to get it. Well, it is that time again for our friend Eric over at Concierge to catch us up on other Disney news.
Hello everyone, this is Eric Johnson with Concierge and welcome to the D180. While Teg and Teresa cover all things Disneyland, in the D180 we take a spin around the rest of the Disney universe and we do it in 180 seconds. Let's jump right in. Let's stay mostly on land this time around, shall we? Our adventure begins in 2025 in Walt Disney World, where we can enjoy a bevy of new fun. Disney made some big announcements a few days ago, and I know I'm going to want to head back to these parks. First up, you've all heard about the announced Villains Land coming to the Magic Kingdom in a few years, right? Disney clearly wants to get us revved up for this land because our first bit of news is about the new show coming next summer to Disney's Hollywood studios. Cruella de Vil, Captain Hook, Maleficent, and several other villains will burst onto the stage in a brand new show. Get ready for some fun with your favorite baddies in Disney Villains Unfairly Ever After. Just down the street, Ursula's antagonist will tell a different story. Ariel and her friends are coming back to their stage in Hollywood studios in a new version of the classic Little Mermaid show. Everything has been spiffed up from the sets to the puppet actors. Disney is doing so much spiffing that the show is opening up in summer a little bit later than originally anticipated. Did you know you can travel from Hollywood Studios to Epcot on 5 different modes of transportation? Your car will work, so will a Disney bus. You can also enjoy a nice walk along a waterway, or you can travel on that same waterway by boat to Epcot, finally travel through the air in style aboard the Disney Skyliner gondolas. That's a lot. Pretty neat, though. Test one or more of those modes in 2025 for your chance to test the all-new Test Track. The attraction will have a whole new story when it returns later in summer. A few months earlier, guests can enjoy some time in the new Spaceship Earth Lounge. Head north underneath that big golf ball and keep going until you reach Magic Kingdom Park. Summer nights are about to get a bit brighter with Disney Starlight Dream the Night Away. It's another brand new addition to the parks, a nighttime parade in the vein of Spectro Magic and Disney's Electrical Parade. Expect the usual suspects of favorite Disney characters with a little extra magic from the Blue Fairy from Pinocchio. Swing on back to the Animal Kingdom for another big show in the winter of 2025. Zootopia Better Together is coming to the Tree of Life Theater with a new tale and old friends. I got to see It's Tough to Be a Bug in that location shortly there before it closed. It was a fun show, but I'm looking forward to the arrival of Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde, too. I hope you enjoyed our quick spin around the rest of the Disney universe. If you'd like to learn more about these Disney adventures or just have a few questions, please come on over. Visit the social media and websites of both DL Weekly and us, their official travel planners, concierges. We look forward to planning something special for you and yours. For concierges, happy holidays and we'll see you in the new year. I'm Eric Johnson, and this has been your D180.
Thanks, Eric.
Your attention, please. DL Weekly Trivia is now leaving for a Grand Circle tour of the Magic Kingdom, with stops at New Orleans Square, Mickey's Toontown, and Tomorrowland. All weekly tiers board.
Hello, friends. You've made it to Trivia Land. Welcome. I hope you are excited. Olivia, good to have you here.
Thank you. I hope producer James's Trivia Land is a little nicer than producer Vern's Trivia Land, so we'll see.
I make no promises.
Vern can be difficult sometimes, but James can also be difficult. I will say on our ornament exchange call, people were talking about that they want more of the stuff that you guys do that's interesting, like where in the park am I? Cast member costumes, and of course, my favorite from Vern, which is what queue am I in? So hopefully more of that is coming in the future. But what do you have for us this time?
This week, 2 listener questions, 2 producer James questions, 1 with inspiration from a listener. So we'll start with the listeners. My first question for you comes from listener Monica L., who wants to know, what are the landmarks included in the backdrop at the end of Hollywoodland and Hollywood Boulevard? If you need help, there are 5 of them.
Well, I think like the El Capitan Theater is one of them. They're all like Hollywood landmarks.
So the Hollywood sign?
Oh, that's a good one.
I just know it's forced. Okay. It's forced perspective. Could we get a bonus point for knowing that very basic information?
I mean, that is very good information, but I can't award a bonus point for that one.
Let's see. Are there, Tag, do we think there's any like stars on the ground at all?
Oh, like like Hollywood Walk of Fame kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because you were talking about the forced perspective. The ground also goes up there to add to that. I just don't look at this that often. You know what I remember most from over there? I remember during the holidays, they put a Santa and his reindeer across there. And I remember there's obviously the marquee for the Hyperion. And I don't know anything else. Although I'm sure when James tells us the answer at the end, I will be like, oh yeah, how could I have forgotten that?
There's 5, you said?
There are 5 noted on this one. Yep.
Okay, we got 3. That's over half.
You're gonna go tomorrow, and you're gonna be like, we should have known all this.
I know. I love that backdrop, though. I know it's very simple, but it's kind of a cool part of the park, I think.
We've gotten lucky with PhotoPass photographers there a couple of times, and those always turn out really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, move us on to question number 2. And Tim M. wants to know, when was the partner statue unveiled?
I want to say, like, the first number, like, just popped in my head, 1992. Because I'm going to say 1992.
You think it was that late?
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, it definitely wasn't there in the 70s. So, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know. Like I said, number popped in my head. So you can go with whatever you'd like.
I'm going to go 1990 because then maybe it's an anniversary year, which would be 35? 25? I can't do math. 35. 35th anniversary.
35.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Well, I'll give you a little foreshadowing. It is related to an anniversary of something, but whether it's yours, we'll have to wait. But next question, inspired by listener Donna S., since we're talking about debuts, what year did the A Christmas Fantasy Parade debut?
I feel like it's early 90s. No?
Maybe it's 1992. Spoiler alert, James has found 4 trivia questions whose answer is 1992. But somehow the backdrop of the thing is 1992.
All of the buildings were built in 1992. Yep, exactly right.
Yeah, that's it. 1992. No, I think I want to say no. See, I think I'm thinking 1997 because It's a Small World Holiday debuted in 1997, so that's what I'm thinking. But maybe it was a big year and they did It's a Small World Holiday and the Christmas Fantasy Parade. I'm going to say 1997. I'm wrong, but I'm going to say 1997.
I feel like it just had an anniversary, but maybe not. I'm going to go 2001. And I hope the Christmas Fantasy Parade never goes away, as a side note.
Good note.
It just needs updating, Olivia. They just do like they did to the electrical parade. Just like every year change like one thing out or update one thing about it. I was appalled when I think Kate put in our chat the trivia question about like when was, I don't remember what it was now. When was Tangled added to it or something? And it was like 2022. And I was like, what? They have changed something in A Christmas Fantasy?
They swapped out too. They used to have, and it's probably been 10 years now, but they used to have Mickey and Minnie ice skating, and now it's Anna and Elsa ice skating on the big blue float too.
Well, yeah, because people don't care about Mickey and Minnie anymore. It's all about the princesses, Anna and Elsa.
Totally.
All right, let's move on to our last question for you. Back by popular demand, I'm lost in the park. Can you tell me where I am? So we're going on a little adventure.
Weekly tiers, ask, and James delivers.
Absolutely. So I am snacking on a chili con carne. And as I leave, I am taking a left. At the crossroads, I take a right. After walking the path, I decide I'm still hungry and want to grab some food. So I'm going to take the establishment to my immediate right. That looks perfect. Where am I eating?
I think it's Flo's, right?
It depends how far down the path he went, because the entrance is not there, but that's the backside. But I would say if he's going down further, that he's at the Lucky Fortune Cookery, because I think that's the one that's on the right side there, because that's where I got the really good food recently that they had last summer there. So I'm going to say the Lucky Fortune Cookery, because I think if James left the chili con carne, he literally could have just walked across the street to Flo's, but he went to the crossroads and took a right and followed the path, which would take you past Radiator Springs into San Francisco, which I think it's still Lucky Fortune Cookery. They might have changed it to something else, but that's what it was. It's that location. But the other question is, it depends on which way you're getting to the crossroads, because you could leave the cones by going towards Luigi's and go down, or you could leave going towards Flo's and go down. So I don't know if you want to clarify that at all, or is that part of the ambiguity of it all?
I mean, I am lost, so I feel like the ambiguity is right, but I will tell you I was leaving in the direction of flows.
And
so
then
you went to the
left?
crossroads, and then
Then I went left.
Oh, you went left?
Oh, wait.
I went left out of the cones, and I took a right at the crossroads.
Yeah, so you're following the path towards San Francisco, so I stick with my answer.
Is there a path back there?
It's the one that goes next to Radiator Springs Racers, between the back patio of Flows and Radiator Springs, that comes out where like the Baymax meet and greet will be on the left, and then there's the Mexican food restaurant on the right, and then there's like the Lucky Fortune Cookie on the right, and then there's like Aunt Cass's Cafe in the bridge and stuff.
Yes. I don't know if I knew actually that there was a path back there, so I'm going to have to take a little stroll down there next time.
It's a great place for a photo op, and if you ever want kind of a quiet place to eat, get something at Flows if you like Flows, and then go on that back patio because it's the back patio. There's like a little bit of like, you know, horticulture, and then there's the path, and then there's Radiator Springs where the cars are zipping by.
Nice.
As promised, Trivia Land always potentially educational, so glad I can offer that for you. But to get the real learning, we need to get the answers, but not until our discussion topic, and I'll see you there.
Well, this week for our discussion topic, with Teresa being gone and us not having an interview to talk about, I believe Olivia suggested this as a topic. We were going to bring in the Hub Crawl into DL Weekly. Now, the Hub Crawl, for those of you who don't know, is the other podcast that I host along with Eric, who is the previous voice of DL Weekly. So, Eric, welcome to the show.
Howdy.
And so each person brings a question to the table, and we go around answering each other's questions, and they're all Disney related. So we're going to kind of do that this week. And if you like it, head on over to thehubcrawl.com or look up the Hub Crawl on your podcast player of choice. Producer James is also with us because we have to have 4.
Because it's the crossover episode we've been waiting for.
There we go. All right, so let's get started. Eric, since Olivia is probably also just as prepared, but I am the least prepared. So let's start with Eric. What is your question?
Which Disneyland IP demands a restaurant?
Ooh, a restaurant.
Yeah.
I will let you pick who you want to answer that first.
Olivia, you seem like you're ready. You raised your hand as well.
I got
it. Go for it.
Mine is less of a new restaurant, but I want a refurb on Pizza Planet, because when I watched Toy Story, especially growing up, Pizza Planet looked like the coolest place ever to go visit. And I think they've done a really good job with the outside, right? You walk up, it's got the big robot men with the arms and the doors swing open. And I think once you go in, it's a little bit disappointing from what it looks like on the outside. So I would love it, because we've got all that space in Tomorrowland and that huge dining area in the back. If they kind of demoed it, or maybe like even resurfaced it back there and went in and like really put in a real Pizza Planet. Again, I think it could be a good eating place, but also there's like those arcade games in the movie, and it could be a good place just to let, kids run around, again, indoors, air conditioned, shaded, that sort of thing. So multi-use restaurant, but cool, nostalgic place to go visit, and then maybe photo op opportunity too.
Nice.
Yeah, just combine the Starcade with Alien Pizza Planet, and there you go.
Totally.
So, Olivia, I'll let you kick it to whoever you want.
Ooh, James, do you want to go next?
Sure, I can go next. I feel like a lot of the places I want to call out already have something or tangentially have something, because like Haunted Mansion came to mind, but I'm like, there's already a lot of New Orleans cooking. So I think I'm going to think logistically, and I would like something by Grizzly River Run, because I feel like you're either walking all the way down to Smoke Jumpers or having to go back to the pier. And I feel like this could be really creative with some sort of like nature driven, be it vegan, or we could even go like native inspired food, which I think would be a really cool twist on the park. I might be saying that just because like you put corn in a dish and I get immediately excited about it, and historically there's a lot of that. But I think that could be cool. I think there's space over there for something neat, especially maybe even along the rapids to kind of give you a little bit of that entertainment of people getting splashed. I could see a good time with that one.
But what's
I love
the
that
theme?
idea too. I think that's a really underrated area of the park. I mean, besides you've got the Redwood Creek Trail Challenge, and then you've got Grizzly. But there's not a lot in between there, but especially at night and at Christmas when they put the lights in, it is beautiful back there. And it would be a great spot to just sit and hang out. And like you said, hear the water, look at the trees. I love that idea.
Theme, like nature, vegetarian, native, something of that sort. You could really work through it.
Right, but I believe Eric's question was, what IP demands a restaurant?
Grizzly River Run. Totally an IP.
But that's an IP? Okay.
Well, I mean, Pirates was the same thing before Pirates became an IP.
I like his thinking. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that constituted an IP. I wasn't sure. I was thinking like a movie or a TV show, not an attraction, which it's an IP.
Hey, go for it. Yeah. Why not?
This is a good one. Wow. See, this is why I like having our questions beforehand, because I can never think of an answer. I think it'd be cool to have Mary Poppins, I mean, we need more Mary Poppins in general in the parks. And I think like a really cool Mary Poppins style restaurant, it would be a table service restaurant, obviously. I think that there could be like a cool song and dance thing. They kind of got close to something like this with the ABC soap opera Bistro in DCA like 1.0, which was crazy. Producer James is over here.
Have you ever been to the Jolly Holiday?
God damn it. But I was thinking more than like a quick service. Like, I think it demands something more elevated than just like
tea
a
service.
Place that you can get
yeah,
treats. Yeah.
Something fancy.
Ooh, a tea service, even better.
Yeah. Well, they do that at Christmas and everybody loves it, but it's only, I think, at the Grand Californian for a couple weeks. So that would be a really fun experience year round to have.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, Mary Poppins. I'm sorry. See, this is what happens. I judged you for your theme, and you judged me for mine.
There you go.
All right. Oh, go. Yes.
My thought for all of this, it's a small world. I mean, when it comes down to it, one of the advantages of Walt Disney World is that there are so many different cultures represented at Epcot. We've got so many different types of cuisine. Let's do a mini version of that. Let's cram it all into one thing. Let's have an It's a Small World meal thing. Yeah, get a food court that is rotating between different things, and let people try out different types of cuisine. And it'll be fast. It'll be good. Let's try for good. And
can I piggyback on that?
Yeah, go for it.
I think it should be you place the order, and then it comes out on a doll, and it like has the plate, and it stops at your table, and it gives it to you.
It just raises it up in its little hands.
Yeah, and it hands it to you. Come on, you got to go with the dolls, right? It's a small world. Like, you got to do that. And it's reminiscent of the clock out in front and all the things coming out and moving around. It'd be cool.
Eric's idea in the beginning made me nervous just based on Small World, and then it got better as he explained it, and then it got to Tag, and then we went back downhill.
It's a little creepy having a doll go, "Here is your hamburger." Maybe
I think it has to be in a song that's going to stick in your head, though.
It's an hamburger and french
fries too.
That's the way to get people out of your seats quickly, right? Get butts in and out is to have that song on a loop. Because how long can you sit here for and listen to that song?
So it's got to be quick service, is what I'm hearing.
Totally.
No. They come out your meal is coming because the song starts and it comes down and it goes like, "It's a small world after all. It's a small, small world." And then people start a food fight. It'd be great. Kids will love it.
Food fight? I don't condone this. Yeah. That's all Teg.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next question and see how much further off the rails I can make it by taking more time than I need to think of the question. Olivia, what is your question?
So I know we are getting a lot of new and exciting things with Downtown Disney. So I want to know, what is something that's gone from Downtown Disney that you'd love to bring back? And what is something, even with the new plans, that's still missing, either maybe a type of restaurant or cuisine or an activity or something like that, that you'd love to have in downtown Disney? Tag, do you want to kick us off?
Oh, sure. For once, actually, I have a quick answer for this one. The one thing that's missing at the Disneyland Resort in general is sushi. There should be a sushi restaurant in downtown Disney. And actually, where it would fit thematically better would be in California Adventure near Monsters, Inc., because you could have Harryhausen's, which is not an original idea. Teresa brings this up all the time, so I'm borrowing her answer, but I totally agree and think it is amazing. And so I think putting it in downtown Disney would put it along the lines of like Din Tai Fung, where it'll be super popular. People want to eat there. Why do we not have sushi anywhere around the resort, like within like easy walking distance? We have pizza, we have like dumpling stuff with Din Tai Fung, we have sandwiches, we have all these different things, but we don't have sushi. And sushi is so good, and so many people love it now. There should be a sushi restaurant, and it should be themed to Monsters, Inc. somehow. Probably would fit the best, or just, find some place that does sushi really well. Maybe have the sushi come out on like a little It's a Small World dolls and hand it to you. That's just going to be my theme for everything we talk about. Eric, what's your answer to this one?
Bookstore. A bookstore.
Oh.
We had a bookstore. It's now it's now the second Starbucks. Right? Yeah, get another bookstore in there, and it can be a regular bookstore. It can feature just like what was it? Compass? Is that the name of the?
I think it was something like that, because you're talking about like the thing that was like it was like in the middle of the walkway, but it was kind of massive. It was the bookstore, right?
Yeah. Now it was taken over by Earl of Sandwich when it closed. And just have a bookstore, and you can feature Disney books. You can feature regular books too. Just a bookstore. People like books. People want to have a bookstore with a coffee shop where they can sit down and look at things. And as far as a community is concerned, it feels like that's what downtown Disney is missing, is a place where people can sit down and buy a book and read a book and talk about books and books. All right.
I want to say that you were 100% right, Eric, because I just looked up on Yesterland, and I had forgotten that it was in that location, because I swear there was like a kiosk out in the middle of the walkway that also sold books. But now I'm thinking it was something else. But you're right. It's where Earl of Sandwich used to be before that got demolished.
Yeah, and the reason I remember it is because Ken from Sweep Spot, that's where he met his wife. It's something that sticks in my head. So he's very passionate about that bookstore that is now, it was a sandwich shop and now is nothing. So kind of cool. Who doesn't like a bookshop? Come on.
Well, and it might be nice to have a little bit of a quieter place too. I mean, I know it's still downtown Disney. You're going to get, kind of kids in and out, but, I know students go there to study. Or Eric, I know you've mentioned going to Disneyland to finish papers before, and maybe you want to be in there or around somebody, but not have as much outside noise. And it'd be awesome to get a coffee and sit down and either read or work or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That sort of normal thing that you do in the world. You've got a place where you can go and just chill out for a bit. Why not have that at Disneyland? Yeah.
And I see it a lot at Disney World, at least on TikTok. A lot of people make videos of, best spots to go hang out. But again, obviously a lot bigger of an area, a lot more space. So even if it was smaller at Disneyland, it would be nice to have.
Yeah, absolutely. James, what about you?
Yeah, so I think the thing that I'm going to find myself missing most, and this is me saying a lot because I don't really keep up with Downtown Disney, it's probably, and this might prove that I'm not paying any attention, would be Tortilla Joe's closing down, because that was like, other than Earl of Sandwich, the only place that I'd find myself regularly eating if I had to eat at Downtown Disney.
Okay.
Probably just kind of a sucker for Tex-Mex Mexican kind of food. And it was always good. Plus, they had the little patio seating, which was nice to sit and people watch with. The thing that I think is missing from Downtown Disney is definitely going to show my bias. I think a board game store or a card game store hybrid would do really well. because there are so many Disney games out there, and especially if you embrace the inspiration of a lot of game stores of letting people try the game in the store and go through that, I think it could be a pretty active place of people playing Disney Sorcerer's Arena, Lorcana, Disney Villainous, Space Mountain, Haunted Mansion. Like, there's so many out there that it would be easy pickings and get people kind of engaged in something.
Yeah.
It is a locals park. It'd be a good spot to do that.
So, Olivia, wind us up.
James, I agree with you. If I had to pick one place, it'd be Tortilla Joe's too. It really does feel like a staple. The food was really consistent. I mean, everything at Disney's obviously a little bit more pricey, but it didn't feel astronomically expensive. So already bummed that one is gone. R.I.P. Tortilla Joe's. We will miss you. And if I had to add something, it's along Eric and James's line. I love another activity. So I was thinking mini golf, or just, something to be able to take people to do. Being in the Pacific Northwest, we often fly in the afternoon, the day before, we go to dinner, and then it's, 7 or 7:30, and we're not quite ready to go back to the hotel, but we don't have a ticket, but, we're not huge drinkers. Like, I don't need to just kind of like bar hop my way through downtown Disney. So it'd be fun to have an activity or something to do. I know there's bowling down there. The bowling often has a really, really long wait. And I think actually to make a reservation, it costs money. Like, you have to put a deposit down plus pay the game fee. So if there was just another activity to do, I think that would be fun both for locals and then again, people who maybe have a half day or not a full day in the park.
Mini golf sounds amazing. I would totally do Disney mini golf. And if you could do like 2-story mini golf, like where you have to hit it into something and it like takes your ball up an elevator, and then like you could go up to the next level, because real estate is at a premium at Disneyland, so it'd be cool to have something like that. It could go into a little stretching room and like or something. I don't know, be kind of cool.
That's cool.
James, let's go to your question.
My question. All right. Well, embracing this game experience, I am curious about what your experience is with the Play Disney app, and if you have a favorite with it. If you have not tried it, why not? You're missing out. Eric, why don't you start us off?
Well, I very much enjoy the Galaxy's Edge stuff. I have done the basic play app stuff there, and I really enjoy the bounty hunter stuff. It's it's fun. You wander around, and it's more expansive than you would think when you start doing this. And really, I guess the last time I really put effort into it was a few months ago, and after going through a few rounds of it, I'm like, I think I'm doing good. And then somebody was waiting in line in front of me to like put in their bounty, and they were getting like 10 times as much money, as many credits for their thing. I'm like, oh gosh, that means there are so many more that I can find. I am not doing this enough yet. And yeah, so it was fun because I've spent a good amount of time in Galaxy's Edge, and it's kind of giving you more things to do there where you can really feel like you're living in that space and existing in that space. That's what brings it home, is giving you more things to do there. And I really enjoy that. So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Excuse to see all the details in the land too. Like you suddenly notice all the crates, what this building might be used for, and I love that.
Yeah, exactly. You're walking around, you're looking at stuff, you're eating your Ronto wrap. your third Ronto wrap for the day. Not that I've done that.
Ronto wraps are amazing. Galaxy's Edge, like, I think from the get-go, Galaxy's Edge just came out of the gate with amazing food.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it took a little while for people to really get a good sense of it. And I think Ronto wraps in particular have become like, oh, wow, this is the thing. And that's great. I've done the veggies. I've done breakfast. I've done the regular. They're all fantastic. And then there's Katsaka's popcorn and, as Dan calls it, Space Panera at the docking bay. Really really good food everywhere in there. And this is in a park that is not necessarily known for its food. So plenty of places to eat and enjoy stuff and hang out. Yeah, go for it.
I always forget Docking Bay 7 is there because of the Ronto wraps and other places to eat. Right. So I've only eaten there once, and I'm pescatarian, so I don't do any land animals, but their veggie meal there is actually super solid. It's like a vegetarian Big Mac almost, which is interesting. It's got like a plant-based patty, but the sauce on it is not quite Thousand Island, but like closer to a Big Mac tasting thing. So it's a great option. I love it back there.
Yeah, I have had no bad meals at Docking Bay 7 or anywhere in Galaxy's Edge. Really
and it's
good
mobile
stuff.
order.
My problem with Docking Bay 7 is they have a lot of seasonal items, and I always really love whatever they have for seasonal items, and then it's gone. And I'm like, I actually think that this seasonal item was better than what they have on the menu normally, which is also very good. So, yeah.
Yeah, you still talk about the pasta from when we went to Star Wars Night 2 years ago now, a year and a half. So
that's got to be a fun area to design food for too, right? Because I mean, really, like the sky is the limit. You can do colors and textures and names and kind of funky things together, and it's Star Wars, so it all kind of works out. And I wonder if that's why we get some more seasonal rotation too, because a lot of space for creativity on food on that one.
Yeah, I think you meant the galaxy's the limit, Olivia.
You're right. The galaxy is the limit.
How about you, Teg?
Well, now we've talked about food. What was the question?
I mean, it makes sense. My question, we get derailed into Star Wars and Galaxy's Edge, but I wanted to know about the Play Disney app.
I also forgot the question.
We got, the Play app. So obviously going with producer James to the parks, he's usually in the Play app. I am one of those people, old man, fist at the cloud, saying, I don't want to be in my device for everything. I already have to be in there for mobile order, and I already have to be in there for that other thing that I don't actually use, so I'm not in there for it. But wait times and, all that stuff. So I don't really use the Play app. I do enjoy it when James does it, because then, like, his battery dies on his phone, and I don't really care. Because I don't want my battery to die. So I don't really use it. The one we've done, I think, the most was probably in the line for Peter Pan, because there's really nothing else to do in that line, and there's a really cool interactive effect. The stuff in Galaxy's Edge was pretty cool with the magic bands and doing, like you said, Eric, the bounty hunter game was really cool. But that's kind of like it. I know, James, you said that like he was happy we could just leave him in Galaxy's Edge for an entire day and he would just play with the Play app and try to get all of the things. But I don't know. I'm in line and stuff, and I don't know. I just like to talk to people and kind of people watch and stuff rather than stick my face in my phone, because I feel like I do that enough already. So that's my idea or my opinion on that one. Olivia, you had a look on your face when James asked this question, so I'm curious what your answer is.
I'm with you. I'm just not super familiar with the Play app, because our system, we do use Lightning Lane a lot. So once we're in a queue, we're generally, if we've just used a Lightning Lane, looking for the next one. And because I'm doing that so often, when I'm not doing that, I really do try to put my phone away and interact with the people I'm with. But because of that, I'm not super familiar. The only queue I know that has it is Peter Pan. So James, I would love to hear your opinion, but also if you have any must do or must try queues, we're going down tomorrow. So I would totally try it out as a fun activity.
Incredible. Then I will give you the whole rundown.
Oh.
Peter Pan, really great for what it is, but the best part is when you finish it up, it gives you a really whimsical experience. And this is where I feel like there's an opportunity a lot of times when you're in the queue and you notice other people aren't doing it. You can give this whimsical experience to other people when you reach it without spoiling what it is. But it's really made for some really magical moments for me standing in that queue, just kind of seeing that happen. So highly recommend that. Plus the game, once you're inside the building, is pretty neat. A lot of the app, the games are like look around the queue and notice things. So like Space Mountain has number codes as you're waiting in the queue to see all around on the structures inside the building, and you have to try to enter all of them in as you go through it to get there. So that's pretty neat to do. The Smuggler's Run up in Galaxy's Edge, kind of similar. My favorite part of that is when you're up on top looking over the Millennium Falcon. It's trying to get you to notice a lot of details on the ship, which I think is really cool that they even considered all of that and talked through it. The Midway Mania is not bad. It's playing with a lot of the posters that are around and looking for details on it of everything you're going. And the fortune tellers are great too. Indiana Jones, not so great anymore because the queue just moves too quick. You can't really translate anything that's happening inside of there. And so you lose out on that one. And then Galaxy's Edge is just great. The interactive stuff to see that, like Eric already pointed out. Rise of the Resistance one's not my favorite. That's kind of just an interactive one with a lot of questions and things to notice. And I think that covers all of the Disney Play stuff other than the trivia. So, yeah, highly recommend Space Mountain, Peter Pan, Smuggler's Run, depending on the queue line that you're in. And I think that covers it pretty well of where I would spend my time on the Disney Play app.
Rumor has it, the treatment that we've gotten at Haunted Mansion is coming to Pirates and to Indy. New queues.
Ooh.
Rumor. Don't quote me.
I'd love to see them figure that out for Indy just because I feel like that's so much wasted space because of where they have to do the queue merge. So that would be awesome, I think.
The merge is it's so awkward where you're like, oh, I have to run through the coolest part of the queue? Oh, that's lame. Yeah.
It was great when it was first there. Again, let's just get rid of Lightning Lane. That'd be the answer. But no. Where did you hear these rumors, Eric? I feel like you're breaking news to our listeners.
It's almost as if a friend of a friend is a cast member who has given us this news.
I will say Pirates desperately need something with their queue.
Yeah, 100%. I don't mind the queue, but yeah, when you extend, when it gets busy and you're just hanging out in the middle of nowhere and just traffic, you're just clogging up a roadway. No, that's not good.
Well, in a roadway that is already really clogged back there. I mean, both for Indy and Pirates, right? You think of, if someone said, what's the most congested area of the park? First thing is Indy to Pirates. So if we can get people out of those walkways or move things to make more room, I think that would be huge for crowd flow.
Yeah, and Pirates is one of the highest capacity attractions in the entire park. And then to have people backed up that far, there needs to be more of a queue. There needs to be a place to put people.
Eric.
They don't have Lightning Lane.
They do. It's there right now for when they do when Mansion was down and they haven't taken it away yet.
Even before, even when they didn't have Lightning Lane, it's still backed up. Yeah,
that's fair.
I want to.
Right,
I jump back to James? That's really interesting and good to know about the Play Disney app, and I like that it actually pulls your eyes off of your phone. I guess I didn't know about it, and I assume it says like Play Disney in the app or doing something in the app, but it's cool if it points you in the direction of, things to look at or things you didn't notice, things Imagineers threw in. So I wrote those 3 down, so we'll definitely check those out.
Can't wait to hear about it.
All right. Well, I guess we'll go for my question at the end, and this one's probably going to maybe be a little bit longer. I don't know. What is something that you want to see? We just talked about earlier in the show during the news segment, the stuff that's coming for Disney's 70th anniversary. But what I want to know is what is something that you want to see for Disneyland's 75th anniversary? Oh. And what I mean is you can't say parade or fireworks show or New World of Color. I want details, like if it's going to be something with fireworks, like what's going to be new and whiz-bangy about it, or if it's a new parade, what's going to be cool and interesting about it. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some details of some thought, of something that you specifically want to see, because obviously every birthday they come out with a new parade, a new show. It's just going to be there. So I'm going to throw this to James.
So my first thought is a thought that I hope that they get to before the 75th, but it would be a drone show. I feel like we're way behind by not already having one of those, and that was just such a magical experience in Disneyland Paris. I feel like it's such an easy thing to run frequently and would be just really cool to have either standalone or mixed in with fireworks along the way. The other, of course, pipe dream that I'm sure people are yelling is maybe the 75th is when we'll finally get Tomorrowland refurbished. But I think that's even more of a dream than a drone show. Oh, there's just a lot of space that could use some love.
Have you not realized that Tomorrowland is just never going to happen until Disneyland crumbles into dust? It's going to be exactly how it is now.
I mean, we just always hope that tomorrow's a new day, right? So, Olivia, why don't you go next?
Here, James, I'll save you maybe right now. So we were just talking about in one of the Discords, the big building where Innovations, where the DVC lounges used to be. So it would be cool. And I think we talked about this on the Hub Crawl last week, maybe putting in like a little bit of like a Disneyland museum back there if we're not going to demo Tomorrowland, and maybe doing something like I'm thinking like through the decades at this point, right? Like, can we have different areas or different floors with different things and maybe stuff that's been taken out of the parks? Maybe it's parts of attractions or things Walt touched or documents, or I don't know, kind of from the beginning to where we are now, to show a progression that is a little bit more like a museum and a walkthrough and kind of like an ode to the first 75 years, because that's a lot of history to showcase. And it's great that Disneyland is always moving and changing. And I know we talked about it, earlier with the 90s night, we're bringing back some old parades. And I think that's cool and nostalgic for people. And people might like to go see what they remember growing up and show their kids or their grandkids and make it a total family affair. And I think 75th is diamond. So I just want rhinestones and sparkles on everything humanly possible in the park. That would be my dream. I want it all to glitter and shine and just be one big disco ball of a party. Eric, what are your thoughts?
I want, instead of Tinkerbell going down the zip line, I want Walt. I want a Walt flying down.
Okay, the animatronic that's coming is already causing issues. You don't think people are gonna freak out that Walt is flying across
a flying Walt?
Just make sure Tinkerbell goes first. Throw some pixie dust, and that's fine, right?
No, I don't know. We need more Walt in the parks. We need something, Walt, and being ridiculous having him flying down a zip line. As much fun as that would be. Yeah, let's
just unearth him from Small World while we're at it.
There we go. Let's respect that this is a human person.
Is he going to yell, like, as long as there's imagination left in the world, the park will never be complete, as he flies off?
To all who come to this happy place. Just flies down the zip line. No, I mean, I really want to see more Walt stuff in the parks, other than a statue, because the man didn't want a statue, as far as we know, and who knows? Like it's so hard to gauge what a man who is long since passed would want to do in the parks, but this is his park, and to see 75 years, like we have to do something more than just a statue. The statue is great. I love the partner statue. I think that was a fitting tribute. I think it's great that it's in multiple locations around the world. I think that's fantastic. I don't know that the animatronic thing is the best way to do it, but I haven't seen it. And I think that's actually probably a good thing. It's probably a good representation of him to bring us back to one of his representations on TV where most of America got to experience him. And I don't mind that. And unfortunately, I know that some of his family members aren't that excited about it. That's fine. Let's find something that they would consider a fitting tribute. I want more Walt in the parks, and not just because, we have to deify this person. We have to make a way for this corporation to be tied to a human being. This is an inspirational man. He did so much in his lifetime. Let's find a way to give him a fitting tribute. And I don't know what that is. I'm at a loss, but let the family help us find something that is worthwhile, that is fitting in their eyes. Let's find something so that we can remember this man, this man who, not alone, but this man who created an empire. He and his brother created something that endures. It's not just a corporation. It's not just a stock ticker. It's something more than that. It's something that people engage with around the world. And what can we do to give him a little bit of tribute that isn't cloying? It's not it's not annoying. It's not superficial. Let's give him something that is worthy of a man who created something like this. I don't know what that is, but somebody else, we can figure it out.
I know what it is, Eric.
Oh,
it's the Walt and Roy, an Imagineer equivalent of the Hall of Presidents. Walt comes out and talks, and it's him and Roy, and then they motion over, and there's an entire room full of all the different legendary Imagineers, and they all have a little thing they say, or they go around and they point to the different people, and they go, Tony Baxter, who helped create Indiana Jones and Disneyland Paris and Big Thunder Mountain, and he'll just like nod funny.
He nods and says, I'm still alive.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking, because we got in Disneyland, we'll have the Walt animatronic in the Opera House, and Disney World, they'll just they'll put Walt and Roy and half the company as animatronics.
There you go.
I like the idea of having
weird.
I like the idea of having more Walt in the parks, and kind of like you alluded to, Eric, and I know Teresa talked about this last week too, but it's hard to be excited. Like, I'm really excited to see this animatronic, but like something doesn't quite sit right with me knowing some or part or members of the family don't agree with it too. Like I don't want to say it dampens my excitement level, but I want to be respectful to them. Like you said, I mean, this was a real human being. This is not an imaginary character. This is a member of their family who, it's been a long time, but like has passed away, right? And so we want to be respectful of that. So I want more Walt in the parks too. And I love the idea of let's rope the family in and let's put something forward that everybody feels good about. So then, the guests aren't conflicted and feel good about it too.
Yeah, I felt weird being in his apartment because it was so personal a space. I felt like I was walking in somebody else's house. And as cool as it was to be in the space of a person that I respect and that created all of this, it was a little odd to be in somebody else's house. This wasn't, it's not the same thing as being in Club 33. Oh yeah, this was a space that Walt made for investors. Like, that's fine. But to be in a space that he designed for his family, and to know that, oh, here's the container where they made Tom and Jerry's. Here are the board games that his grandkids played. That felt a little. It felt a little off. I get that we paid to be in that space, and we were told to be, deferential to this space, but at the same time, it's like, this is somebody's house. This man slept here. He and his wife spent time here, and that's different than just Walt went to the, Walt went to Sunkist and in the morning demanded, fresh pressed orange juice. This was, he slept here, and this is his private space. And I have to respect privacy. It was great to be there, but I'm good. I've been there now. Ted, you haven't answered.
I'm going to take, I want to take one thing that you said, and I want to do something that I think would be really cool, especially for like a 75th, is we have lots of audio and video of Walt talking about different things in the park. Wouldn't it be cool if when you come up to the turnstiles, they're playing like a little Walt audio loop of like, welcome to, I don't know, welcome to Disneyland, like, something. Or you go by Town Square and you can hear him give the opening, recite the opening day little plaque thing there or whatever. When you get down the entrances to each of the lands, it just kind of is a loop of Walt, reading the dedications for each of the lands. Kind of bring Walt into it and seeing how much, he enjoyed it or whatever. And he talked about all the things that are still there from, when he was alive. So have like little recordings, or maybe not have a loop because maybe that would get really like annoying to some people, but have like a little kiosk you could go press the little button or put your magic band up to that would kind of talk about it. Just give a little bit of history throughout the park if people are interested in it. And then in addition to that, the thing that I kind of like really want is I think back always to the 50th anniversary of Disneyland, which I think they did an amazing job. They had a lot of things that were very simple but fun. One of those things was like they had a bunch of golden Mickeys hidden around the whole resort. There's 50 of them that you could find. That was cool. So find 75 of something and put it around the park. And all the opening day attractions, and they put one gold ride vehicle, which was cool because it made you kind of want to ride that. And it showed people that like this was an opening day attraction. So stuff like that I thought was really cool and unique. And I know that it seems like, they're just, if they were to do that again, that it would feel like, they're just doing what they did before. But that was 25 years ago by the time the 75th gets here. Do it again. Who cares? Like people, people that experienced it will say, this was so cool the first time. It's cool that we get to experience this again. And people that didn't get to experience it, because the park, I would say, has gotten a lot more popular since its 50th anniversary to now than it was before. And people don't know about all of that or never got to experience that. It'd be like, if I asked you, Eric, what would you like Disney World to do for the 75th? And you're like, you know what? They should bring back the castle cake. Maybe people would be upset by that, but also there's a bunch of people who never experienced that. And maybe they would like to see it, and it'd be kind of something interesting, or done maybe in a slightly different way. That's the type of stuff that I want. I also want, even though it was a giant pain in the butt, I want something along the lines of the Remember Dreams Come True fireworks spectacular, where you were standing in the hub and fireworks literally were all around you, and just something spectacular for the park, something that they're going to not cut back on for the whole 18 months of the celebration or whatever. I want something truly awe-inspiring in a show, like a fireworks show or a parade or something that just makes people go, wow, I didn't know they could do this. And that's a really high bar for Disney. So maybe, like James said, bring in some drones, use fireworks as well. Maybe they pump up the fountains in the moat to do like a little mini World of Color. That's what they do in Paris. They have fountains. Doing stuff like that maybe will make the park more navigatable around the fireworks time, because for the 50th, they had to close all of Fantasyland, which they still do, but they also had to close off a lot of things around some of the other places where they were shooting fireworks off of. So obviously you don't want to impact the park that much every single night, but find other ways. Do it with water, do it with drones, do it with something, just to make it like, wow, this is why people are so obsessed with Disneyland, because they do really cool stuff like this. And I think a theme park like Disneyland that has paved the way for every theme park since, I think showing that 75 years of that being around, like that would be a great opportunity for that. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Even just redoing the 50th, that's a great idea. Why not? Because I was there for the 60th, and that was pretty good. That was fun, but everybody talks about the 50th. Even
and
if
the
you just
60th,
did
Olivia,
again.
was diamonds.
I know. I was just thinking about that, which is weird because 75 is diamonds, but maybe one's a birthday and one's an anniversary or something like that.
It's something. I don't know. But yeah, I love it. Who would complain if they did the same thing again?
Well, and it's been, to Tag's point, I was 8 when the 50th anniversary was happening. So like I have very vague memories of it. Like we've got a great picture in front of the castle. I was going to add in too. I remember they did a huge kickoff celebration event, either the first day or the anniversary day. I can't remember which one. We were there for that, and I have very, very vague memories of that. But that was an awesome event too, and it'd be fun to do one. Obviously, big things throughout the 18 months, but to have one giant day of something would be really cool too.
And you're right, Eric. Who in a park with guests that love nostalgia as much as Disneyland people do would complain about seeing that again?
Right. Why not? I mean, except for the young folks who don't remember what happened 25 years ago.
I would just like to argue that I don't think there's anything that I can remember that wasn't awesome about that anniversary. They had people, some of the cool things that we forget about, I forget about this all the time. People could submit photos of their family, and they did these collages.
That sounded awesome.
Different things. In the Opera House, there was one that was like the castle, and it was made up of all these people's submitted photos. So one of the cool things you could do is you could go and try to find yourself and your photo in these things, or you could look at other people's photos. They had Steve Martin did a video about how he started as a magician at Disneyland on Main Street and all of that. So I don't know, just bring back some of these things, do some of these things they've done, throw a bunch of parties for like that would be really cool. Look, I'm just coming up with more. We've had really, really cool different promotions throughout the years where like there was the one there was like Year of a Million Dreams that doesn't really count as like an anniversary thing, but we had things where they were giving out cars, like you would come through and like it was like a slot machine, I think was one of the things. But there's all these like different milestones that we've had up to 75 years that like it'd be cool to be like, for the first 2 or 3 months of the celebration, we're going to kind of pretend like it's the 35th anniversary all over again, and we're going to do stuff like that. Or we're going to redo the 40th anniversary because that's like when Indiana Jones opened and like what was going on during that time and stuff like that. I just think it'd be kind of cool. Like you could change it up, which, it's Disneyland. People want different things all the time, all the locals do. So, swap out some things. Or it's Disney. Make the 75th last 5 years. Who cares?
Why not?
And you didn't give your favorite answer, which is a 24 hours after or 24-hour event.
Oh.
No, even better, Olivia. A 75-hour. 75 hours, you buy a ticket for 75 hours, you could be in the park. Open, like it'll just 75 hours, stay it open. I would not stay all 75, but I would leave and come back and be there all night long. That's for sure.
That would be
back
insane.
to the Hojo for a quick nap and then back in the park.
Well, I would like to thank Eric, producer James, and of course Olivia, because you've been here hosting with me this week, for coming together to do this. Again, I think it was Olivia's idea to get together and do this, and we kind of came up with it last minute. And I literally texted Eric, I don't know, 6 hours ago if you could do this. And here you are. So go check out the hub crawl if you thought this was kind of fun. See all the antics we get into over there. It is a little wilder, I think, than DL Weekly. So, and if you really want some wild episodes, go back to, what was it, last summer, 2 summers ago, something like that. There were some fun episodes.
Yes, we did. We experimented.
July and August. It was fun, right? That's like the heart of the show is the wackiness.
I loved that the thing that validated all of it for me. I mean, it was fun for me to do this with other people when Tag was out for a few weeks. But then the thing that validated it was Tag came back and he's like, I want to answer all these questions. I want to do it. I want to do it now. And we did an episode.
Even the speed run,
those.
Which I was like, what are these?
The speed run.
But also, I'd like to take this moment to promote some stuff for Eric. So, Eric, where can people find you if they do not know where to find you on the internet already?
Well, I'm on Instagram at EricPodD because I'm a doctor of pod, and I don't post enough on Instagram. But you can also find me at Ears Up Podcast, where I appear whenever we do an episode. I'm one of the co-hosts on that one. I am one of the co-hosts on The Supreme Resort, which is Land versus World It's a lot of fun. We're in the midst of a massive hotels saga right now, where we're looking at all the hotels in Disneyland and Walt Disney World. And I'm also at the Hub Crawl, which we've talked about. And I also do a show called Bowie-splaining, where I talk about David Bowie, because I don't know a darn thing about the guy, but my co-host Dan knows everything about the guy. And it's a lot of fun learning about, exploring all of these albums one by one and really getting into it. So, yeah, our last episode that is going to come out soon is on Low, and we're getting up on Heroes, which is an album that a lot of people know about, and I listened to it today for the first time, and I love it. Absolutely love it. So stick around for more about that. Yeah, there we go. I do a lot of podcasts. Also, I'm going to be on CBS News because I lost my homeowner's insurance. And I had an interview yesterday, and I'm going to be on CBS News Denver soon to talk about how people who live in fire-ridden areas might not be able to afford insurance, and that's great.
So definitely go check that one out, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's a thrill. That's a thriller right there.
You came here for Disneyland, but really you wanted to see Eric Johnson talk about losing homeowners insurance on CBS.
Insurance. That's my main passion. Insurance.
If you enjoy listening to the show, please consider rating and reviewing the show on your podcast app of choice. It helps other Disney fans become weekly tiers and part of the community.
It's okay. I'll be the only weekly tier without an answer. Make sure you send your questions to Producer James or Producer Vern at trivia@DLWeekly.net.
I'm out of breath. There's a lot of me in this podcast this week. It's good to be back in Trivia Land, though. I hope you two are excited to be back.
I mean, I'm curious to see how we did, whether it's good or bad. I feel fairly okay about it, but, everything's 1992.
It's just a good, safe year to guess. Well, we'll find out how you did. So the first question for you two came from listener Monica L., who wanted to know if you knew what are the 5 landmarks included at the backdrop at the end of Hollywoodland and Hollywood Boulevard. The 5 answers, most of which you did not give me, are the Beverly, the Crest, the El Capitan, the Roosevelt Hotel, and the Hyperion Theater.
They're counting the Hyperion Theaters one? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Playing with all the marquees that went down the street. That's what we were really looking for in that backdrop there. So, Hollywood sign. Obvious answer. Not there. So
we got one. Ted got one.
1. Ooh. See if that's the trend for the rest of this. Second question. Listener Tim M. wanted to know if you knew when the partner statue was unveiled. It was not 1992. It was November 18th, 1993.
No.
65 years to the day from Steamboat Willie's premiere.
Oh.
I was close. I was only off by a year.
It's pretty good. So
that's fun to have something in the park that recognizes that anniversary. I like that.
Yeah.
I would like to change all my future answers to 1993.
We will see how this works out for you. Can't wait for the next one to actually be 1992. But that third question, inspired by listener Donna S., was me asking what year did A Christmas Fantasy Parade debut? Olivia, you were a little too late. Tag, you were slightly less late. It was in November 1995.
Oh.
So it premiered the same year that the Indiana Jones adventure opened. That's interesting.
You just had the wrong attraction that you were picking. So.
Oh, well, that's what happens.
Okay, well, 3 down, 0 right. See if you found me or if I am just lost somewhere. So I took my chili con carne and I went out to the left, waving to Flo's for clarity. At the crossroads, I took a right, and after walking down the path, I decide I'm still hungry and want to grab some food. The establishment to my immediate right looks perfect, and you found me at the Lucky Fortune Cookery.
Nice job, Tag. Good job.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day, as they say.
Or once in Trivia Land, whatever,
I wish I had what that was called that I ate. It was so good, but it was like it's not on the normal menu, so I can't even look it up right now. But it was very, very good.
It was. You know what else was good? The listener trivia questions. And so we need some more just like that to help stomp Tag, Teresa, and Olivia when she joins us as well. So please send them in and let us share your thoughts. You can submit them to our website. It is dlweekly.net/trivia.
Well, we will be back next week with more Disneyland news and information.
Until then, go out and enjoy the parks.
And thank you to our editor, Sidel, for taking care of all of our mess.
Please remain seated until the podcast comes to a complete stop and the doors have opened. Then collect your belongings, watch your head, and step carefully from the episode. On behalf of all of our crew, thanks for traveling with us, and we hope you have a happy and memorable visit here at DL Weekly.
Happy holidays! Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy holiday.